Why did you decide that it was important for you to take part in a documentary like this?
Well, because I know that there's a lot of people out there that are suffering how I did, and I didn't want one more person to suffer even a % of how I felt, and I literally made the decision. I got lots of offers and I chose what I thought at the time was the right one, and I think the reaction that everyone's got is proven that it was the right decision to make, and hopefully it can help thousands of people feel comfortable enough to come forward.
And Alex, I mean, people, you know, in this country, we still don't understand domestic violence, whether it's from a man to a woman or, in your case, from a woman to a man, or same-gender couples. I mean, it happens. It's not really a gender issue in those senses. You know, the violence and the control is hugely damaging wherever it comes from. Can you, in some way, explain, because I think probably I know that the first thing that people who know nothing about domestic violence, have never come across it, will say, well, how could you put up with it for that long? You know, what people often go, well, hang on, the first time he or she did something, why didn't you leave? And that's not a question for me, but I know that that's what people often ask, and you must know that. Children's
safety, and it was that sort of thing. I didn't know if I was to leave. I've come across so many men that haven't won in the family courts and got the best deal out of it, and that was, to be honest with you, during the time, I never really thought about leaving. It was just purely, is the next day going to be better than the last? And it was survival mode. You're just constantly protecting yourself at all times. And I never actually thought about it. And people have asked, like, do I think people should have done anything before? And I genuinely didn't think. It was all about just, like a boxer in a ring, keep your hands up the whole time.
When you receive some of this abuse, and I mean, it sounds horrific, were there moments you actually feared for your own life at that point?
Oh, yeah, I was pretty much... I actually genuinely was waiting to just die, because I just kept hoping that the next day maybe one less hit on the head or one less stab, or I didn't get boiling water, because if that was the case, it would be a far better day than the day before. Because you weren't with this woman because you despised her, you loved her. Yeah. That's why you were together, I'm assuming. Yeah. My situation, I don't know if Mark's got views across the board sort of thing, but just little things happened at the start, and... Like I saw what? Well, she disappeared on 2 holidays, and, like, no one really knew why, and then both times she was laughing in the reception area. And it was a bit like, that's weird, and I think that was about getting the attention.
Mark, I mean, it's such a shocking story to hear. I mean, how common is this? You work with the charity Mankind. How common is this? Is it more common than we think, and simply a lot of cases are being unreported?
Yes, it is far more common. I mean, 1 man in every 6 will suffer from domestic abuse in their lifetime, and men make up 1 in 3 of all victims, so it is far more common. And I think what Alex has done is actually shone a light on how prevalent it is for male victims, and also how important it is for people, whether they're friends, family or neighbours in Alex's case, to actually look out for a man who could be a victim of domestic abuse.
And what sort of things are you looking out for? Is it that they... I mean, behaviour changes when you're in a relationship because another person becomes important. So you may not go out with your mates as much. You may not, you know, you may not do the same things you used to do. But where do you start becoming worried?
I think you become worried when there's complete isolation. For example, in Alex's case, he was completely cut off from his friends and family, so it was a complete cut-off. Also, if you notice any change in behaviour, especially around being nervous, actually feeling as though they're being spied upon, actually feeling nervous around other people, and also a change in their physical demeanour, whether they look as though they're not getting any sleep or covering injuries. It's that type of thing which will be the early signs that there's something wrong in that relationship.
And can I just ask you, before you had children with Jordan, were you aware of how controlling she was, or was it when the children came along it got worse? Because I know for women, pregnancy is often a trigger for when they suffer abuse. No. Or was it this?
She was not right. I don't know what the right word is, but no, she wasn't. It was happening before, so I think... Did
you think you could help her and you could talk to her, rationalise? Were you sort of thinking, well, maybe if I change this, maybe if I do that, maybe then she'll be happier? And
no,
were you
because I sort of... It's almost like if I offered to cook the dinner, it's you're not good enough at cooking.
You're always in the wrong.
Exactly, yes.
And we saw that incredible footage from when the police officer came to the house, and they have these body cameras now. If that officer hadn't spotted what was happening to you, what would have happened, do you think, to you?
I would have died, because I was lucky enough that I think I've worked it out about 1,000 times. I was hit on the head and I never had a fracture on my skull. And it's like, well, what if one of them give me brain damage, or a stab on my wrist just was a little bit to the left and hit the main artery, or just a stab wound. Anything could have happened, but yeah, I wouldn't be here now if it weren't for
any one of those things from a stranger in the street. It would never have happened again. You would have dealt. It's just in a relationship. It's an incredibly complex area that, and I know, Mark, you'll feel the same. That we can't talk about it enough. Actually, can we?
Just final point, Mark. Is this? Are you still facing a stigma and a wall that men can't possibly be domestic abuse victims? Are you still facing that a lot?
Yes, we are. Not as much as we did, say, 10 years ago, but certainly people aren't as open-minded as they should be when it comes to domestic abuse. They still see it as very much an issue that happens to women at the hands of men. But the response,
which of course it does, and it happens more with women. And,
absolutely.
But as you said, the statistics
absolutely.
are there.
And there's no argument.
Yeah.
But the thing is that the response that we get from the police and local councils and GPs is far better now than it was 10 years ago. So it's really important for men in that situation to come forward.
Well, thank you both. Thank you, Alex. And I'm glad to see that you are better. I hope the children are well.
Yeah, they're
good.
Alex,
good.
Incredibly brave for doing that documentary, coming on this show. Thank you so much.
And if you've been affected by Alex's story, please visit our website at itv.com/Good Morning Britain, where there'll be more information for you.